Valve has recently shut down CSCO, also known as Classic Offensive. Let's talk about why this is a bad thing and the future ramifications of this. Hey guys, I've been around the community for a very long time. I played Counter-Strike 1.6 way before it was called Counter-Strike 1.6, and I've seen Valve do a lot of good things, bad things, and some ugly, but nothing quite as ugly as this. Now for the last 8 years, a team of modders has been creating a mod known as Counter-Strike Classic Offensive, and back in 2017, they were greenlit by Valve themselves. So what exactly is Classic Offensive? It's a mod of Counter-Strike that's supposed to put together all of the best parts of Counter-Strike from all different generations. For example, the Deagle from Counter-Strike Source, the maps from Counter-Strike 1.6, the rocket launcher from Counter-Strike Condition Zero. Yeah, seriously, they had the rocket launcher in this. This mod was going to release with a bunch of different gameplay modes. It was going to be the ultimate Counter-Strike mod. So you can understand why Valve was scared, right? Well, not exactly. I'll go into this right after a word from this video's sponsor. If you want to sell your skins quickly, safely, and easily, then check out sellyourskins.com. Sell Your Skins is rated a 4.5 on Trustpilot by over 165,000 users. Talk about being trusted. The link is in the description below. They offer higher prices than other cash-out sites. And you can get paid through PayPal, Revolt, Bank Transfer, and other various methods. You can also receive up to 5% more cash through the site ranking system. If you use the link in the description and promo code TIMES, you will get an extra 5% as well. That's sellyourskins.com. Now currently Counter-Strike 2 is a major cash cow for Valve. It has a massive competitive community, it has tons of cheaters, and they all want one thing: skins. And just so you guys know how much money they're making, in March of 2025, they made over $82 million. That's from case opening alone. So you could understand that Valve feels like they have a lot riding on Counter-Strike. Now there's a couple reasons they did shut down the mod project according to Valve. One of those reasons is that the mod is built on CSGO, and they no longer support CSGO. So they say that they could mod it for CS2. Now the modders say this isn't possible. And even if they did do that, there's a good chance that Valve would still turn it down. Another reason that they said they stopped this mod is because it is derivative of a Valve IP. But let's be honest, most mods are. That's why they're mods and not standalone games. Now I'm old, really freaking old, and I have seen mods come out for Valve in the past. There was a time period when I was playing Counter-Strike 1.6 when 10 different Counter-Strike mods came out. And this was mainly because a lot of people didn't like the movement changes of 1.4, the slowdown after you jump. So they were in a sense trying to return it to a more classic time. And then in Counter-Strike Source, probably the most well-known mod of all time, Counter-Strike Pro mod came out. This was an attempt to merge the player bases of both 1.6 and Source. Now obviously this didn't work, but I do believe it did spark Valve to start creating CSGO. Now with all that in the past, it makes you wonder, what is the real fear that Valve has of this releasing? Do they think that everyone's just going to give up their $1 million worth of skins and switch over to the other game? Let's be honest, regardless of how cool this mod is, people would go over to it at first, play it for a little bit, have a good time with some friends, and then after a couple weeks, most people would forget about it and just head right back over to CS2. And that's the best case scenario. After that, occasionally YouTubers would bring it up, sparking a little bit of interest in it, but at the end of the day, people are not really going to be leaving CS2. Keep in mind, Counter-Strike 1.6 and Counter-Strike Source are still available to play, and people don't just head back over to those. They have very small communities, and at the end of the day, Counter-Strike's a competitive game that really needs a competitive scene to stay alive. And Classic Offensive is obviously not catered towards competitive gameplay. It's really just the opposite. It's more about nostalgia and playing on random public servers, which if anything would spark interest in some old school players and maybe even grow the population of CS2. Now let's talk about the elephant in the closet, CS Legacy. What could this possibly mean for CS Legacy? CS Legacy is completely independent of Valve games. It's not a mod, it's an actual game built from scratch. Custom assets and everything. This is a complete faithful recreation of Counter-Strike 1.6, unlike CSCO, which kind of combines all of the Counter-Strikes. The problem is that if Valve doesn't want this to come out, it's not going to be coming out. Valve makes way too much money and can use that shit on lawyers that can find loopholes that we'll never understand. So even if they're able to find a way to bypass everything they said about CSCO, there's a good chance they're still going to run into a lot of issues. One of the worst things about all of this is that back in 2017, CSCO was greenlit by Valve. So the dev team behind CSCO continued working on this entire time, not realizing that Valve had changed its stance on it. Which is just absolutely crazy when you think about it. Valve could have told them a long time ago that this was not going to be allowed. But honestly, even if they're not going to allow Counter-Strike mods at this point onward, this one should at least be allowed because it was greenlit back at the time when it was allowed to be greenlit. It just comes off very poorly from Valve. So Valve's not going to allow any content for Counter-Strike that is, unless they're going to make money from it somehow. Like making skins so they don't have to, or making maps so they don't have to. In this post, it clarifies Valve's stance a little more. Valve will only allow skins and maps if published through the Steam Workshop. Maps can only be developed using the Valve Hammer editor. Original, non-commercial games created with Source SDK 2013 that do not use Valve IPs. This one is what's most likely going to get CS Legacy. Mods based on the Half-Life 2 or Team Fortress 2 using Source SDK 2013 with defined guidelines, but not mods based on Counter-Strike, and projects that have received explicit licensing from Valve. Now, Valve could choose to give this project explicit licensing if they wanted, but they won't. It just shows that Valve is no longer the good guys that everyone used to believe they were. This is such disheartening news. I was really looking forward to playing this myself. I know I wasn't going to play it long term, but I was definitely going to have a good time with some friends on it. I feel absolutely horrible for the guys that worked on CSCO. Sorry guys, sorry you wasted 8 freaking years. Valve, I hope that you realize how messed up this truly is. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below.